Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start my lesson because I don't think anybody is going to jump on and join me. So you can go ahead, I'll record it and you can go ahead and watch it at a later time. So I have already gone over all of the chapters except chapter 6, so the last chapter of the month. So yesterday we went over chapters 1 through 5. We talked about distance and height. So today is chapter 6. Okay. So I'm going to read chapter 6 with you. We'll go over the questions. Okay. So let's read.
Chapter 6, A Magnetic Force.
Okay. Chapter 6 is called A Magnetic Force. And here's our picture. We have, it looks like a big cabinet. And there's something in the cabinet. I'm not sure what that is. There's a lot of different balls around the cabinet, like the basketball, the soccer ball, and the baseball and volleyball. So I think probably that those balls go in the cabinet. So let's see. Let's read.
Class is over. It is time to clean up. The students pick up the equipment.
Okay, so gym class is over and it's time for the students to help pick up the equipment. So this is the equipment for gym class, the balls, the basketball, soccer ball, volleyball and baseball and hula hoops. Okay, so they help put it away.
The students carry the equipment to Mrs. Perez. There is a large cabinet behind her. JR pulls on the door to open the cabinet. It won't open.
Okay, so there's a large cabinet behind Mrs. Perez, the teacher, and that's where the equipment goes. So JR pulls on the door to open the cabinet. Why won't it open? So it won't open. He pulls on it a little bit, but why do you think? Is it locked maybe? Maybe since they keep the equipment in there, they lock it. Let's see. Okay.
JR pulls harder on the door and it opens. There are magnets inside of the doors. The magnets keep the cabinet doors closed. Pulling the door hard makes the magnets come apart.
Okay, and the cabinet that the equipment goes in, that there's magnets that keep the doors closed. That kind of sounds maybe like a refrigerator door too. There are some doors that have magnets to help keep them closed. Okay, so JR has to pull harder to open it because the magnet's probably pretty strong to keep the door closed. So he has to pull it hard to make the magnets come apart.
A magnet has two different ends called poles. Each magnet has a north pole and a south pole. The north and south pole of two magnets stick together. A force can pull the magnets apart.
Okay, so the magnets have a north pole and a south pole, kind of like the Earth. Like Santa Claus lives in the North Pole, and then there's a South Pole, maybe like that. Okay, I think we learned today in our gravity lesson that the Earth is kind of like a big magnet also. So maybe they're kind of related in that way. They both have a North Pole and a South Pole. Okay, so the North and South Pole of two magnets stick together. So that's why one side of a magnet, if you've ever noticed, if you've ever looked at a magnet, one side will stick to metal like the refrigerator door and one side does not. Okay, and a force can pull the magnets apart. Remember, a force is something that moves things, so you have to use force to pull the magnets apart.
Other things use magnets. A magnet holds paper on a refrigerator. A crane uses a strong magnet to pick up large things.
Okay, so a magnet holds paper on the refrigerator. And a crane uses a strong magnet to pick up very large things or large things. Okay, so a magnet, and let me see if I still have a magnet. Oh, here it is. This is an example of a refrigerator magnet. It has a very thin magnet on the other side. You see it, okay? And then the front is just a picture or colors or something. Okay, so refrigerator magnets are not very strong. They hold pieces of paper usually to the refrigerator door. Not much else, okay? But magnets can be very strong. Magnets can be even strong enough to pick up really heavy things like cars. Okay, so you see this crane? This crane has a really strong magnet that picks up these big beams. It looks like maybe beams of steel, which are very, very heavy. So magnets can be not very strong like a refrigerator magnet to very, very strong like a one on a crane used to pick up heavy things. Okay.
Mrs. Perez talks about what they learned. A force can move an object fast or slow. A force can move an object high or low. A force can move an object far away. A force can change how an object moves.
Okay, so the teacher, Mrs. Perez, talks about what they learned. They've talked a lot about forces in the gym class. Forces used to move things, okay? So a force can move an object fast or slow, depending on how hard or slow or soft maybe you push it. Like if you push something hard, it moves faster. If you push something soft, it moves slower. Okay, a force can also move an object high or low, like throwing something into the air really harder can make it go higher in the air, or lower, it'll stay lower to the ground if you don't throw it as hard. Okay, also another force that makes objects move low is gravity. Gravity pulls things down low to the ground. Another force can move an object far away. So throwing or pushing something hard makes something go far away. And a force can change how an object moves. Okay, so different forces, pushing, pulling, throwing, gravity. Okay, magnets are also another type of force that make things move.
Mrs. Perez's gym class had fun at the sports stations. They learned about motion. They know about force. Now they will play sports even better.
Okay, so they learned about motion playing sports. They learned about motion in racing and playing soccer and volleyball and basketball. So remember some of the forces they use: racing, pushing and pulling the wheelchair wheels. And Mark learned about gravity in his soccer lesson, and also pushing and pulling. And Sydney learned about pushing things like the ball away from her and blocking the ball. And John also learned about things like pushing, passing a ball, throwing it high in the air to make a basket. Okay, so they know more about sports and know how to play better now. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter, and you can pause it. You can test yourself, see if you can find some of the vocabulary words, or ask somebody at home to quiz you. Okay, maybe they can ask you to find 4 or 5 vocabulary words, like find the word move. Where's the word move? The one that has an object that's moving from one place to another.
Move.
Okay, how about pull? Pull, like the person pulling the wagon behind them. Pull.
Pull.
Okay, or find the word fast. The word fast is represented by somebody running fast with wind behind them on their back. There's fast.
Fast.
Okay, and motion, which the whole unit was about motion. Okay, the one with the picture of the car driving fast and the top spinning fast and the person stretching. Motion. Okay, so test yourself. See if you know some of those words, okay? And you can pause the video now and do the questions first and see if you know them by yourself. And then you can start the video and correct with me. So I'm going to go over the questions now. Okay, so our chapter was 6, magnetic force. Number 1, what is this chapter about?
What is this chapter about?
Is it about A, magnets, B, speed, or C, gravity? Well, I think from the title of the chapter, we kind of have a clue. It's called a magnetic force. We talked about magnets.
Magnets.
Okay, number 2.
2. What does JR do to open the cabinet door?
What does JR do to open the cabinet door? Does he push it, pull it, or close it? Let's see, does he push it?
Push.
Did he pull it?
Pull.
Yes, he did. He pulled the door. Number 3.
3. How do the magnets keep the cabinet doors?
Okay. How do magnets keep the cabinet doors? A, loose, B, broke, or C, closed? What do you think? Do they keep them loose?
Loose.
No. Do they keep them broke?
Broke.
No. Do they keep them closed?
Closed.
Yes. They keep the cabinet doors closed. Number 4.
4. What can you use to pull the magnets apart?
What can you use to pull the magnets apart? A, force, B, key, or C, hammer? What would a pull be? Would it be a force?
Force.
Yes, a force. You use force to pull magnets apart. Number 5.
5. What is important to know about this chapter?
Okay, what's important to know about this chapter? A,
Magnets keep things open.
or B,
A force can change how an object moves.
or C,
Objects move in one direction.
or C, objects move in one direction. Okay, so what is the most important thing you learned from reading this chapter? Was it about A, magnets keeping things open? Is that true? No, magnets don't keep things open. Magnets close things or keep things together. Or B, a force can change how an object moves. It is B, a force can change how an object moves. Okay, so that is chapter 6, lesson 13. So we are done with that book for the month. Okay, so next Monday we will start reading and start talking about our new subject for the month, which is going to be a social studies lesson. We're going to talk about history. So I hope you like history. Okay, and I'll see you later. Bye.